Proceed, Honorable Ichungwa.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I rise, Honorable Speaker, to support this motion. But, Honorable Speaker, with the reservation that has just been mentioned by the Honorable Serem, that indeed, in our standing orders, Honorable Speaker, are quite explicit that no member should be appointed to serve in more than 2 departmental committees. And therefore hope that the 2 whips, both the minority and majority whips, will act swiftly to correct that anomaly so that we are in compliance with our own standing orders. Honorable Speaker, I must also take this opportunity to thank the majority leader, the majority whip, and members of the selections committee for the opportunity to once again serve in another committee of this House, the Committee of Member Services and Facilities, Honorable Speaker, which was previously referred to as a catering committee. But, Honorable Speaker, you will appreciate that with the introduction of the enactment of the Parliamentary Service Act of 2015, this Act, Honorable Speaker, indeed went to the extent of defining what will be member services and facilities. And it says in the Act, Honorable Speaker, that services and facilities includes all means by which members and staff of Parliament are officially assisted in performing their parliamentary duties. And that, of course, as I was mentioning, as I informed the Honorable Junet, will include virtual links and virtual sittings, especially in this COVID age, Honorable Speaker, to ensure that even our aged members, as I mentioned, like Baba of the House, Honorable Nuru Angwenyi, the Honorable Muturi Kigano, who I have seen here, the Honorable Maina Kamanda, and others, Honorable Speaker, are able to serve their people without being constricted because of the facilities and services that will be offered by this House. Okay. Honorable Speaker, I want to
please also finalize so that we can save time for others.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, I'm trying to summarize, and I want to draw your reference, Honorable Speaker, to Article 127 of the Constitution, Honorable Speaker, within which Honorable Speaker informed the enactment of this Act, the Parliamentary Services Act of 2015. The Act in Article 44, sub-Article 3, is quite explicit, Honorable Speaker, and I think the leader of majority former leader of majority did mention that the Parliamentary Service Commission ought to be oversighted. Like all other independent commissions in this country, the Parliamentary Service Commission must and needs to be oversighted. And the committee to oversight the Parliamentary Service Commission is this committee. And Honorable Junet, I want to assure you that I will take this new position with gusto and energy, with passion, to ensure that the Parliamentary Service Commission does its work. Okay. And Honorable Speaker, allow me, Honorable Speaker, to just mention 44.3, Honorable Speaker.
The remaining passion for your committee.
Honorable Speaker, I was saying Article 44, sub-Article 3 is quite explicit that the Commission shall hold biannual sessions with each House of Parliament on the status of implementation of Article 127, sub-Article 6 of the Constitution. And Honorable Speaker, it is important that we then draw reference to what Article 127, sub-Article 6 mentions about. And it talks about the responsibility of the Commission to members, Honorable Speaker. And 127.6c says that the Commission shall undertake singly or jointly with other relevant organizations, programs to promote the ideals of parliamentary democracy. And Honorable Speaker, I want to end by saying that in this committee, Honorable Speaker, at this time, when parliamentary democracy in this country and in the world is under threat, I will ensure that the Parliamentary Service Commission reports to both houses and tables reports to show what they are doing towards implementation of Article 127, sub-Article 6, and especially in working with other institutions to promote parliamentary democracy. So that in future years, Honorable Speaker, we will not have leaders of a majority or the whips telling members a system where under parliamentary democracy, members ought to be electing their chairs and vice chairs, that they must be guided democracy from other institutions outside of this House. We are destroying parliamentary democracy in this country, Honorable Speaker, and I will want to ensure that in this 1 year or 2 years, I will work to ensure, Honorable Speaker, that we safeguard our parliamentary democracy.
Thank you.
Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity.
Don't bother so much with a point of order. Ask for permission to speak by clicking here.
First and foremost, Mr. Speaker, I rise to...
What is it, Honorable Fatuma? What's your point of order? What's your point of order?
She doesn't have even the...
What is your point of order?
Speaker, it is really unfortunate. The former chair of Budget Committee, what he say? Him himself, he was given the chair in State House. His name was read in State House. Nobody voted for him. So it is a total dishonesty, Mr. Speaker. Let us not double stand here. I heard also the former majority leader saying, Mr. Kimunya was also talking about positions. Mr. Speaker, we were in State House, we were called, and our names was read by Honorable Duale, including Mr. Kimunya, and Honorable Ichungwa here. So, Mr. Speaker, let us not even delay this debate. Put the question and we debate this matter, and we finish.
We actually have only 15 minutes, so you are okay. You are within. So finalize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And I hope, Honorable Amalwa, you will be brief.
I'm going to be very
so that
brief.
we can have other members speaking.
I'm going to be very brief.
The majority whip, be prepared. You probably will be the last one to speak.
Thank
when
you.
your time comes, so you will have to wait.
Thank you,
give
Mr.
other members
Speaker.
and then finish.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this motion. Mr. Speaker, though there are some anomalies that are there, which, Mr. Speaker, we thought you should point out so that correction can be done. I've just spoken to Honorable Junaid this morning. He explained to what happened, Mr. Speaker, and I do agree with him, Mr. Speaker. This is a very difficult task in terms of placing people in committees, having worked there. Mr. Speaker, mind that people have one committee, the other members with 5 committees, Mr. Speaker. When you look at our standing order number 174, it says, when you are in a leadership position, Mr. Speaker, you can only have one committee. And there's a member, Mr. Speaker, who is in 5 committees. For example, Honorable Beseli, Mr. Speaker, is in the Committee of Selection, Committee of Appointments, Committee of Health, and is also in PAC, and yet is in leadership. Is this fair, Mr. Speaker? These are 5 committees. So when we move forward to do that correction, that anomaly should be corrected.
So that we can dispense with that, Honorable Amalwa. When you are a deputy whip yourself, how many committees were
I had only one committee, Mr. Speaker, because when you're in leadership, you're entitled to one committee. How comes Mheshimiwa Honorable Beseli has 5 committees here? These are the questions you're asking, Mr. Speaker. They should be corrected.
You know why, much as I do not want to interrupt your contribution.
Yes.
You know, by virtue of office,
yes,
he would be in selection
and
it's appointments.
Not. It's not.
It is by that virtue.
I was in that position, Mr. Speaker, and I was only in one committee, in line with the standing order number 174. How comes it's in PAC committee, health committee, appointment committee, selection committee, and yet it's in leadership? Maybe it was an oversight, but the Honorable Junaid Mohammed has said he's going to do that correction. So we must look at these things, evaluate things, Mr. Speaker, so that we do things objectively, so that we have equality and equity, Mr. Speaker. Because I was in that position, Mr. Speaker, and if it's to come from the Ford Kenya party, we have other members that can come and serve even better than him. Because he's in leadership, he should only have one committee, Mr. Speaker. This should be corrected. I think this was an anomaly, it was an oversight, but Honorable Junaid has said he's going to correct this. Thank you, and I support.
Very well. Now we go to the Honorable Sankok.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Honorable Speaker, balancing members in different committees is a very difficult task, Honorable Speaker, and I want to congratulate the majority leader, the minority leader, the majority whip, and the minority whip for the excellent job that have been done, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, though there may be some little anomalies, Honorable Speaker, I'm sure Honorable Junaid and Honorable Wangwe had indicated that they are ready to correct these anomalies. So I urge the members, as a member of the Committee on Selection, I urge the members to support this particular list, Honorable Speaker, so that we can move forward, Honorable Speaker, because we know that all businesses that are in plenary must have come through committees. Without proper composition of the committees, Honorable Speaker, the work of the plenary, Honorable Speaker, will be limping, Honorable Speaker. And we want to hit the road moving because we only have 2 years remaining, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'm particularly happy because of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee and the delegation.
I want you today to be brief.
Delegated legislation, Honorable Speaker Committee, because as we move forward, we have the BBI report coming into the House, and we need members who can really move forward this particular report, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, I do support.
Very well. Let's have a Honorable Nyamai.
Thank you, Honorable.
Honorable Nyamai, I've given you your mic.
Yes. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would like to, from the onset, say that I do support this motion. And I also would like to thank the majority leader, minority leader, and the majority and minority whip for very good work done. Honorable Speaker, I know that it is extremely difficult to balance. I know that they received lots of calls from all levels so that they can come up with this list. Honorable Speaker, I would like also to say that I was here when this list was brought initially, and you could feel that members were not agreeing with it, and they withdrew in order to go and consult further. So I would like to commend them for that. Mr. Speaker, I would like to go direct to the purpose of being in a committee. And I would like to encourage members who feel that they have been placed in committees that they don't like or they are not very happy with, that it all depends on the interest that you have reading about that committee that have been put to. I just want to reflect on the day that I was given the Committee on Lands when we started this parliament. And I wondered how the majority leader then and the leadership thought of placing me in lands, because I kept feeling that I'm better off in health, in education, in labor, because that is what I understood. But I would like to say that with time you read, you get comfortable, you interact with the members, you interact with the House leadership, and you realize that you'll be able to deliver on your mandate. Honorable Speaker, the Speaker has talked about the success of Lands Committee. It's not about expertise, it is about interest and ensuring that you deliver on the mandate that you are given. Mr. Speaker, I would like to say that I've also heard from the graveyard that we are going to get some more chairs who are women. Honorable Speaker, I'm looking forward to that. Mr. Speaker, I am really looking forward, and I would like to thank the party leadership for placing women in positions of leadership. Mr. Speaker, I'm not saying that men do not lead very well. They do. But the fact that leaders of the political parties saw it wise to have these great women sit and chair committees is a matter that needs to be commended. So let me thank the party leaders and tell them that it's great to have women sitting and chairing committees. And I can assure you that women who have led committees have done it extremely well. Mr. Speaker, as I support, I would like to say that as I sit, I've realized that positions of leadership in this House, whether it is leadership of a committee or membership of a committee, depends on the leaders of political parties. And I think this is a matter that we need to respect. I did not understand it when I was a first-time member of parliament, but now I fully understand that being a member of a committee or even chairing a committee is determined by a party, and that I have a responsibility to ensure that I push the agenda of the party that I belong to. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Come here.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii kuchangia katika mswada huu. Kwanza kabisa naunga mkono 100% mswada huu ulioletwa na kiongozi aliyo wengi katika bunge hili. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi nimechaguliwa kwa mara ya pili sasa hivi, na nikiangalia kazi kubwa ya utendaji kazi katika bunge la kitaifa, ama kutengeneza sheria, ama kuangalia usimamizi yanayoendelea katika sekta zetu za uwajibikaji, Mheshimiwa Spika, naona kazi kubwa inafanyika katika kamati, na kubadilishwa kwa kamati ama wale wanaokaa kwenye kamati kwa katikati ya muhula, mimi naona pia ni uzima, kwa sababu kitu ambacho ningependa kuwaambia wenzangu ni kuwa katika kazi yako kwenye kamati uliochaguliwa, hata kama si fani yako, lakini ukiwa na ari ya kuchangia katika vikao kama vile, basi tayari wewe utakuwa ni mmoja katika wale unatenda kazi. Mimi Mheshimiwa Spika, nilipochaguliwa kwenye kamati ya mashamba wakati ule bunge lilipoanza, bunge la 17, sikuwa na umahari vizuri, lakini nilipochaguliwa kama naibu wa mwenyekiti niliweza kujua na mipango kuangalia ni namna gani naweza kuwajibika mbali na kuwa kwenye bunge na kuzungumza. Lakini nikiwa kwenye kamati kuna mengi ambayo tumefanya katika kamati ya mashamba, na natoa shukrani kwa kuweza kurejeshwa tena kwenye kamati hii
ili niweze kuwajibika, kwa sababu kwangu mimi miaka iliyobakia, kwa uwezo wa Mwenyezi Mungu, nitafanya kazi iwezekanavyo ili katika zile sheria ambazo zimekuwa na utata katika masuala ya mashamba, katika yale masuala ambayo yameletwa na waheshimiwa wabunge ndani ya bunge hili la kitaifa, vile vile tutaweza kukaa pamoja na kamati ile ambayo tumekuwa nayo, na naona pia kuna wengine ambao wameongezwa, wamebadilishwa. Tuko na imani kuwa kazi itafanyika. Mheshimiwa Spika, natoa shukrani kwa viongozi wale ambao wanasimamia masuala haya, na naunga mkono mswada huu kikamilifu. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Very well. Now the mover is to respond, but we could probably have a minute each by the Deputy Minority Leader and then the Minority Whip. Majority Whip, sorry. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
What is your point of order, Honorable Ngeno? Just a point of order, please.
Yeah, Speaker, remember, I've made this request with the idea that a member has an obligation to serve or not to serve, to choose to serve or to choose not to serve. Speaker, it's unfortunate I'm not...
I really want you to...
It's a point of order.
Yes.
I will be very brief and very specific.
You know, because the majority leader is supposed to respond.
Yes, and that is why I would have wished...
on the point of order, what is it?
Speaker, I would have wished the majority leader to respond before I made my statement, before I make my statement.
On to what now?
Listen, Mr. Speaker, that is what I'm saying. I want to make my point that
you have risen on a point of order, and I've given you Honorable Ngeno. I want you to just put your point. Then he could. I don't think he will respond. I will respond myself.
Speaker, I'm on a point of order, and my point of order is this.
Yes.
My point of order is this. I want to request the sender to take back. Yes, that is what I'm saying. Mr. Speaker, I've been put on a committee called Committee of Parliamentary Powers and Privileges. Mr. Speaker, I am not, it is a very powerful committee, a very strong committee that is meant to be disciplining members and doing all that. But Mr. Speaker, just like the leader of majority had stated clearly that they do these selections to particular committees based on parties and party proposals. I know it is my party which had made this proposal that I be removed from Justice and Legal Affairs Committee and CDF and GCDF. Mr. Speaker, I would wish to tell the majority leader and the whip to take it back to the sender and tell them that I'm not going to serve in that committee.
Now let me respond to that briefly, Honorable Ngeno. You are perfectly valid to raise issues, whatever issues in the House, but the procedure is what you have missed out. What you need to do is, since this thing will not be changed, it will be either adopted or rejected. You can now make a specific formal request to the selection committee when they sit. Then they could, well, if you are just saying you are not interested, that's fine. If you are saying that you want to be changed into a other different committee, I'm sure they can work it out.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I wish to. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I wish to raise three concerns very quickly. And Mr. Speaker, these are to do with the fact that you see these committees are formed by the standing orders. And Mr. Speaker, I've observed that Article 95 allows us to be in oversight committee so that we can be able to carry out that mandate of oversight. But when you look at the number of oversight committees, there are only 15, and the membership is 19, Mr. Speaker. That means a total of 285 members. Maybe through the Committee of Procedure and House Rules, in the future we need to consider to increase the number of membership so that we can be able to each serve in a departmental committee for purposes of oversight. Okay. Mr. Speaker, the second quick one is that I also want to propose that maybe after 3 years, like we have done, the standing order should allow all committees to come to an end so that we can be able to review and then look at the people who are serving in committees, those that attend, those that do not attend, then we can make those final changes at that point. And finally, Mr. Speaker, when we have parliamentary parties, Mr. Speaker, I think it is important that parliamentary parties be also given a mandate to at least have a member in every committee in the House. Because there is a threshold for a parliamentary party in this House. And the minute a party reaches that threshold, then it makes sense that as long as we have a committee, then we should have a member from that parliamentary party. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. My majority whip in brief, and then we have the mover to respond.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I just want to make one comment that I want to urge my colleagues, Honorable Speaker, to support this motion by the Committee on Selection. Because, Honorable Speaker, we sought for 30 days, but now we have a few days, and once the Speaker announces the vacancies today or in the afternoon, it means we will only have Speaker 7 days to call for the election. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I want to ask my colleagues...
What is your point of order, Honorable Ching?
Mr. Speaker, as he replies, and this House of Rules, my point of order is, would he confirm to this House that the list as he brought today conforms to the ruling of the Speaker on this part, Mr. Speaker, especially regarding Mr. Speaker's ruling on the possible numbers and memberships of committees of the various parties and independents. Mr. Speaker, the ruling given, Mr. Speaker, on that day, Mr. Speaker, indicated clearly at page 11 on the proposed numbers and memberships of members to committees. And Mr. Speaker, talking for small parties, this is what the Speaker said, that for Frontier Alliance Party, the PNU, Democratic Party, MDG, each with one member in House, are entitled to two slots per party. Would he confirm that this list conforms to the Speaker's ruling on this matter, Mr. Speaker?
Okay. Minority whip. And then we probably must...
Mr. Speaker, through your guidance, Mr. Speaker, let us not bring frivolous point of order, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you are a member of a party and you are the only one in this House, how do you occupy two committees, Mr. Speaker? Honorable Ochieng is the only member for MDG in this House, and he wants to be in two committees, Mr. Speaker. Secondly, we have put him through the selection committee under Committee of Regional Coordination and Integration, Mr. Speaker. If he thinks that is not a committee, Mr. Speaker, let him resign like Johanna Ngano, Mr. Speaker. That is a very important committee, Mr. Speaker.
Well, let's hear please, and we can finalize this.
In the interest of time, Mr. Speaker, I wish just to say I support the motion, and I support the motion, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Majority Party.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I just wish to thank members for ventilating on this list. You can now appreciate how difficult it is to place 349 members within 622 slots. If you divide 622 by 349, it's 1 point something. So there's no way you're going to have every member in two committees. It's simple mathematics. Mr. Speaker, let me also explain that all the chairmen also sit in a liaison committee. It's a coordination committee for the chairman. So you'll find they'll be in two. Chaired by the Speaker. A number of them will also chair, because of the specific committees they are having, will also be called upon to be in appointments committee, which sits only when cabinet is being appointed. Could be once in 5 years or in 2 years. Or selection committee, which only meets like it's sat the third time in the 3 years. So there are some committees that are almost ad hoc. Yeah, so you might be counting a member is in 3 or 4, but it's in those small committees. But we have ensured that every member has at least one committee. And specifically the Honorable Johanna Ngeno, who raised his own issue why he's been removed from JLAC. Mr. Speaker, the report I have here on attendance in committees, and I hate to say this, but I have to put it on record. Out of 75 meetings between January to October of JLAC, the Honorable Ngeno attended only one. Now, so Mr. Speaker, we must take cognizance of the poor attendance of members, and we cannot continue burdening the other members with some who don't attend. And this is something we are going to follow up, that a member who does not attend 4 sittings is supposed to be reported by the chairman. But because members have been holding chairman to ransom, that if you report us, we are going to impeach you, I will take over that responsibility. And I will monitor that if members are not attending 4 meetings consecutively, the letter to the whip, we have the template. The only thing that will change is the date and the name. So, Mr. Speaker, with those words, I beg to reply.
Okay, so I proceed to put the question, which is that further to the resolution of the House of Tuesday, 5th December 2017, appointing members to various committees, and pursuant to provisions of Standing Order 173, this House further approves the appointment of the following members to the respective committee as specified in the order paper. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. And honorable members, time being 2:30, time being 1, this House stands adjourned until Wednesday, 15th July 2020 at 2:30 p.m.